Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Retro.
And more importantly, the Retro Gamer Show.
And coming up on today's show, I tell you why we think this month's Retro Gamer magazine is a must-buy.
I find out if a dream that I've had for over 20 years really can come true.
And we go back to April 1998 to find out what games were riding high in the N64 and PlayStation charts in a section we're calling Games Chart Flashback.
But before we get into all of that, recently we had the NES Mini, then we had the SNES Mini, and now we've all got our fingers crossed and we're hoping for an announcement for the N64 Mini, because that would be really cool. But we have also now got this. This is the C64 Mini, and it's obviously a small version of the Commodore 64. Now, I grew up gaming on the Commodore 64, so obviously I'm all over anything Commodore 64. And as you can see, it's a nice box. It looks like something that Commodore would have used back in the day. And it also comes with 64 games, licensed games that is, installed and ready for you to play. But what does it look like out of the box? Well, it looks like this. So yes, this is it out of the box, and it's smaller and cuter than I've ever thought it would be. Just giving it a measure, the actual width of it is about 20 centimeters long, and the depth is probably around 9 to 10 centimeters. So really small. And it's got the keyboard, but unfortunately this is not a working keyboard. It's not functional in any way. Some people have moaned about that, but I think it's actually quite good that it's not, because it's actually so small that, I don't know whether you can see, if you were going to be pressing these buttons with these keys, you would be sort of pressing 2, 3, maybe even 4 at a time, so it just wouldn't be practical at all. But if we turn round to the side where you would normally expect to see two Commodore 64 joystick ports on the original Commodore 64, we do actually have two USB ports into which you can plug a USB keyboard. So if you want to type in some games from magazines that you've kept from years gone by, then this does have C64 Basic on it, so you can get a keyboard and type in some games and see whether they still work or not. And also into this USB port, you're probably going to be also wanting to plug in the joystick that comes with it, which looks like this. So some of you would probably notice straight away that this just looks like a Competition Pro joystick from years gone by. It's got a nice long cable on it, so none of these short cables like what Nintendo were serving up. And it's got like your usual two big buttons on the front, a couple of extra buttons on the top here, and on the back bit here, as you can see, we have a menu button on the end and some other buttons that can be mapped and are actually mapped to some of the games that are installed that use certain keys on the keyboard. You use these instead. So I've actually found it a little bit uncomfortable to use. It's sort of like my hands started aching after using it for a little while. Maybe that's because I'm used to the comfy sort of control pads that we've all got used to over the years. But it's not micro switched either, which is a bit of a disappointment. It's the only thing really that lets this down just a little bit is the joystick, but you can actually plug in other joypads, and a fair few of them do work. But yeah, I mean, some people say they've had input lag as well using this. I've actually been using it with my TV in game mode, and if you've got a TV that's got game mode, apparently if you put that on, then that does get rid of any input lag that you get from this joystick. So to actually finish off the tour of the console itself, next to the two USB ports you do have an on-off switch, and then on the back you have your micro USB port for power. Now this does come with a USB cable, but unfortunately, just like the Nintendo ones, it doesn't come with a power supply, so you'll have to supply your own, which is, if I remember rightly, 5 volts and 1 amp. So basically any old phone charger will probably do the job. And you've also got a HDMI slot for output for going to your TV, and you get supplied with a HDMI cable as well. So that's all good. And you've got the power on light on the top, which actually does come on when you turn it on. And you've got, instead of a Commodore 64 logo on the top there, you've got a C64 Mini logo. So they've done actually a really nice job of this console. It looks really nice. And so let's take a look what you get when you actually turn it on. So when you turn on the C64 Mini, you get greeted with this rather nice looking menu system. It has a little bit of text information, a screenshot, as well as the cover art for all of the included games. Talking of the games, some of my favourites included here are Uridium, Paradroid, Boulder Dash, California Games, Speedball 2, Bounder, Monty on the Run, Thing on the Spring, Spin Dizzy and School Days. There's no need to worry though if your favourite game is not included, as there is a way of loading games via USB stick without even using any hacks. The menu system also has this cool little chiptune thing going on in the background, but if you're not a fan of it, then you can mute it just by hitting the third button on the back of the joystick and it mutes it like so. But I quite like it, so I think we'll just leave it going. If you click on the monitor logo at the bottom of the screen, it brings up this display menu where you can choose between 6 different display options. Next, clicking on the little speech bubble with the A in it will bring you to the language menu where you can choose from 5 different languages. Hopefully yours will be there. Then clicking on the spanner icon will bring up this little menu where you can choose the language of your USB keyboard. There's some legal notices and also some system information. And you can actually do firmware updates on this via USB, so it looks for them there as well. To load your game of choice from the menu, you just simply have to go to it and click the fire button. Once the game is loaded, by clicking the menu button you bring up another menu system at the bottom of your screen from where you can do save load games, and each game has 4 load save states to choose from. Also in this menu is where you'll find your virtual keyboard, which I find works fine for just doing simple keyboard inputs like 1 or 2 player or for entering your name for example. So here's a little bit of Monty on the Run running on the C64 Mini. My first impressions are that they've done a great job with this system. The system runs well, the games play well. Maybe if I was just going to nitpick, it could have come with a slightly better joystick. The C64 Mini currently costs £64.99. For a full list of retailers in your country and loads more information on the C64 Mini, visit thec64.com.
Wow, it's smaller and cuter than I thought it would be. I'm just wondering whether in 20 years that plastic's going to go all funny coloured.
Hopefully there won't be retro bright in it or anything like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, I think you've been taking a look at this month's Retro Gamer magazine, haven't you?
I have. Let's take a look. We think this month's Retro Gamer is a must-buy. This month's feature is all about Pac-Man. There's a lovely front on this. Inside there's a guide to Pac-Mania. Also, we've got the complete story about Pac-Man on the Atari 2600. One of the things I remember owning in this magazine is the Archer Super Deluxe competition joystick. Now the real reason why we say this is a must-buy is because this month there's 2 free gifts. One of them is this poster, and it's double-sided so you can change it over when you're bored. A looking Commodore 64 there. Now on the back you have loads of shots of Bob Wakeling's artwork, and there's loads and loads of games you should be able to recognise there. All Ocean stuff, all drawn by him. Now it's not just that, there is another gift as well, and it is a CD. Now this is a CD of loads of remastered SID tracks. There's 12 in total from various games, Ghouls and Ghosts, Flash Gordon, Whizball 2000, there's another Whizball one on here, Light Force, The Last V8, and that's a great CD to listen to in the car. I've had it on for the last month since the magazine arrived through the door. Now if you do want to pick one of these up for yourself, you do need to be quick because they're only on sale now to the 19th of April, which is next Thursday. If you do miss out, don't worry, because you'll be able to get back orders from the magazine's website and probably turn up on eBay.
So, as always, a great issue of the Retro Gamer magazine.
Now, up next, Colin, you're going to tell us about a 20-year-old dream that's coming true.
Yeah, shall we take a look and see how I got on? Way back in September 1995, I went into an electronics boutique store and picked up this Wipeout on the PlayStation. Now, over the coming weeks, once I got this game home, I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with it. I loved the graphics, I loved the soundtrack, but I found it incredibly hard to play and also quite frustrating. But I shelved it for a few weeks, but eventually I went back to it, and I'm glad I did, because once I realised what air brakes were for, once I realised that you had to actually learn the tracks, I found it a really challenging and fun game to play. Now, since then, I think I've probably played every version of Wipeout that's been released, and I even picked up last year's Wipeout Amiga collection for the PlayStation 4. But since playing this game back in 1995, I've had a dream of what it would actually be like to fly around the tracks in the actual cockpit of a spaceship from one of these games. And today, thanks to this, my trusty PlayStation VR helmet and the VR update for this, I'm actually going to get to see what it's like to fly around the track in a Wipeout spaceship, or as close as I actually ever will. So, is it going to be a dream come true, or is it going to be a bit naff? I thought I'd play it now for the first time, and then I'll come back and tell you what I thought of it. So wow! So I'm sat in my cockpit, and wow, you can see all the other competitors and the crowd, all your controls in your hands. Wow, it's awesome. Whoa. Wow! What, right. This is just awesome. Whoa. Third, not bad for first go. If I do say so myself, that is just awesome. The best fun I've had on PlayStation VR, I can tell you. Wow guys, wow. Oh god, I've got to tell you that is absolutely amazing. I just cannot believe how good it was. The graphics were nice and crisp and clear. Probably the crispest and clearer graphics I've seen on any VR game. It's a real game changer. You're sat there on the starting grid and you can see the competitors, and you can look down and see the controls of the cockpit in your hands. And then when you shoot off, it's just an amazing experience and thrill ride as you race around the tracks. And I mean, the 3D sound as well, through these things, I mean, they've done a great job with the 3D sound, because you feel the rockets actually passing past the cockpit of your spaceship, and when they hit you, or when you hit the bombs, it rumbles, and it really feels like you're being shaken around. It's like I don't know, it's like nothing else. I can't really explain it. It's just something you've got to experience for yourself. So for me, the VR update for Wipeout on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR, wow, it's a big thumbs up.
So Colin, you were pretty impressed with Wipeout VR. I don't think I've heard so many wows in a video for at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Every time I played it, I've come off with a smile on my face, and it's a really cool game. If you've got a PlayStation VR, then you want to get yourself a copy of Wipeout if you haven't already, and download the patch and give it a go. It's really good.
Good stuff. Now we're going to check out the chart from April 1998.
in April 1998, this was what was #1 in the UK singles chart. And the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation were doing battle to win gamers' hearts. So let's take a look to see what were in the top 5 games for both the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64.
Right then, Colin, move over. I'm going first with the mighty N64. At number 5, we've got Sonic collecting rings in Green Hill Zone. No, just kidding, it's Mario 64, and what a game. At number 4, it's everyone's favourite, well, almost everyone, kick the bag of wind, it's FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup. At 3, Rare at their very finest with Diddy Kong Racing. At number 2, if you used to love Olympic gold on the Master System like I did, you probably bought this. Nagano Winter Olympics. Nagano, something like that. It's Olympics. Now, number 1 for the N64. Probably not the best Bond ever, but definitely the best Bond game ever. It's GoldenEye.
Okay James, as the PlayStation is my favourite console of all time, I will take it from here. And here's the top 5 PlayStation games for April 1998. At number 5 was a Codemasters classic, Micro Machines V3 Platinum Edition. At number 4, this is where it all started kids, it's Grand Theft Auto. And at number 3, not to be left out, the PlayStation also had its own version of FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup. And it was number 2 in the N64 chart, and it's number 2 in the PlayStation chart. It's Nagano Winter Olympics. And it's time to wrap up warm, because in the number 1 slot, it's Cool Borders 2. So that's quite interesting, going back to April 1998 and see what was in the charts.
Bit repetitive.
Yeah.
Football and
Olympics.
Would you get an Olympics game again anymore? Don't know.
And you would never guess that number 1 was going to be GoldenEye in the N64 chart, would you?
That game ruled.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's nearly it for this episode of the Retro Gamer Show. But before we go,
yes,
I went into a gaming shop the other week, and you see all the crap they put on the counter to try and sell you.
I say get the little kids, pick them up. Mummy, I want this. Buy me this.
So these are made by Tomy. Was it Tommy? How do you pronounce that? Tomy?
Tomy, yeah. It's a children's toy.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard of it.
And these are Sonic Boom buildable figures. There's apparently 6 to collect, and they are priced at $2.49. It's got plenty of games on this. You know what shop I went into and bought these from.
They look like they're officially licensed as well.
They do. So anyway, I thought I'd buy a couple of these. I'm going to open them up, and then they'll tell you whether they're good or whether they're a bit naff. And then you know whether it's worth buying them or not.
Okay, right then.
We bought them so you don't have to, basically.
Hey, this could be amazing.
So apparently it says it's got 1 sticker, plus one figurine in each pack. So
and there's 6 to collect.
yeah. So
wouldn't it be rubbish if we both get the same?
that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Anyway, well, let's find out.
So look. So
about the rattling.
yeah.
It's like a very shiny hard plastic. Well, not hard plastic, but you know,
These are
wrapper.
hard to open, aren't they?
Oh, they're a bit smelly.
You got yours open?
Oh, it's very smelly. Do you need to ask Mummy or Daddy for scissors?
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go.
Right, anyway, while we're waiting for
Jump cat.
while we're waiting for right, okay, I have got that guy, Dr. Robotnik or Eggman.
What's that? That's your sticker, is it? Oh, no,
Yeah, I got a sticker and a shape. An octagon, is that? Okay, hang
That's
on.
probably the base, is it?
Right. Oh, that plastic stinks.
It does, you're right. There is a smell to it.
Ooh, look! Oh, he's headless!
You've got to build him.
Oh, that's why then. Well, is that to save money? In China, they couldn't even assemble it. Oh, anyway. Right.
So here's my sticker. What's that?
What have you got? Oh, you got tails.
Like a shiny, it's a shiny sticker. It's a
That's
shiny,
good.
they call it, yeah.
You got to stick that on
And
something. Sonic Boom, 6 to collect. It's just some advertising. Oh, and it covers all their stuff. There's all different languages, and it basically just covers them legally. Like, don't, you know, not for children under 3.
So the build your own figure consists of sticking his tail in,
Okay.
sticking his tail in his ass,
Okay, right.
like that, and then sticking it on the stand. So that's
Oh, that's
the build
that's
your
a
own.
stand. I didn't know.
Yes.
I wonder what that was. Okay, right, here we go. Bits are going to fly everywhere. Or not. I've never known a toy stink so much.
It does, don't it? They do smell.
Right,
So there we go. There's mine.
Hey, that's cool.
It's actually, even though they're small, they're quite well painted, aren't they? They look quite nice.
Now, you had trouble opening it, and I took the mick. And now I can't.
Get it on the stand.
It's because that hole is much bigger than that. Okay, let's try it the other way around. Here's an idea. Why didn't they make it the same size? That'll teach me for taking the mick. Oh, there we go. It will only go one way if you get Dr. Robotnik, if you do buy one of these.
So
Hey, that's cool.
For $2.49, I don't think they're actually too bad. Actually, they're quite well painted and quite well made. So
Good stuff. I think the colour's a little off on Tails, but
maybe. So yeah, that's a good ending to the show, I think. So anyway, on the bombshell that these are actually pretty good figurines,
we'll leave that up to you to decide.
and we'll see you next time on the Retro Gamers Show. So until next time, James, what they got to do?
Keep it retro, everyone. Thanks for watching.
See you soon.
Game over.